The Implement and Reflect page of your development record is for recording all development activity that you've undertaken. Now, if you want any ideas about CPD activities that you could be involved with, please click on Activity here, which will take you to the 22 opportunities that we've got at present. If you think anything should be added to this list, please let us know and we'll happily add it. But we're hoping that this will become a comprehensive list of all the kinds of CPD that you can partake in, whether you are teaching staff or indeed business support staff. So in this box here, you would type in the activity that you've undertaken, the date and the time spent on the activity, because it's quite useful for you to either be able to remember when you did something, but also how long it took and how many hours you've spent on CPD this term or this year to date. Has this activity been added to iTrent? So in this box you would just write a yes when it has been, and please leave it blank until you have added it to iTrent. This link here will take you directly to the login for iTrent so that you can go in and add the information to the record. If you want to know a little bit more about the iTrent record in collaboration with this record here, please look at the guidance leaflet. So within 7 days of completing your CPD activity, we're wanting you to write some notes about what you learned. This can just be in bullet points, but it's the main things that you're taking away from that CPD activity. It might be at times that you do partake in CPD that you don't think is particularly useful to your development, and perhaps you thought it was when you chose to do it, but afterwards you found that it didn't really have the relevance that you wanted it to your job role. So in this box, you're writing what you learnt, and if it was a negative experience, maybe just summarise that experience. I personally have a blog where I generally write about CPD activities that I've undertaken, so I might actually just insert a link there to something else where I've already reflected, and that might be the case with some of you. If you already have reflection portfolios somewhere, you can just link to that about what you learnt. So that's within 7 days of completing the activity. What we're suggesting as a further timescale is that within 6 weeks of completing the activity, you're writing down how you used your learning. So in your job role, did you apply what you learnt in any way? Did you try out something new that you'd been kind of introduced to? Did you apply a new way of thinking to your job role? Did you share it with a colleague? So just however you use that learning within your job role. Then, a further 2 to 3 months from completing the action, we'd like you to just detail what the impact of the action was. So however you used your learning and began to use it in your job role, how did that further and what do you think the impact was? Now we're thinking in terms of impact, in terms of maybe sort of your data and statistics. So if you click on Reflect, that will kind of take you to the area of the developing yourself site, where it will give you a little bit of information about reflecting on impact. So it could be sort of the data-driven side. It could be just how you feel that you've either helped kind of your service users or your students, depending on who you think has been impacted. It could even be that your colleagues had a direct impact, so maybe they experienced success from your CPD that you undertook because you passed it on and maybe they were able to develop further from that. The final comment is related to future further developments with this learning. Often it's the case that CPD, once you've started it, is very much an ongoing process. So it could be that you've engaged with a certain way of thinking or being, and you'd like to develop that a little bit further, try new things, go on further development as a result of the development you've already undertaken. So this is the kind of timescale that we're looking for. This is just to give you a guide in terms of how often you should be updating your record. So this part of the record, the first 4 columns, will be the most frequently updated, and then sort of further timescales from that, the other elements will be updated and included in this page.